My name is Kerry Wilson. I'm 20 years old. I go to the University of Ulster in Coleraine and I study psychology, hopefully with the intention of going on to Bible college and then ultimately becoming a Christian counsellor. In 2009, December time, I was 17 and had a brain hemorrhage, and I was in hospital for 2 weeks and got out on Christmas Day. But during that time, there was about 2 or 3 points where they thought that I was going to lose my life. At the time, I didn't really think that it had affected me very much. I don't really remember it, so I didn't really attach anything to it because for me it wasn't really real. But then whenever I came out, a lot of people kept saying to me that it was a miracle and a blessing and it was an answer to prayer from God and everything that this had happened. So I think I felt quite separate from the event because I hadn't really felt anything through it and I didn't feel like I was on a journey or anything with God. I felt like it had just happened and it was done with. Throughout the time from I left hospital, there was a lot of people around me. So for a while I didn't really realise what was going on until I went to one of my doctors who gave me a lot of bad news kind of in one sitting. And that was the first night that I went to pray to God. And it was more of an argument. I was just really mad at the time because I felt like he was there the whole way through it. And then whenever I needed him and I felt like I was going through it, there was nobody there. So it was quite a lonely experience because in my mind, everybody else who'd been praying for me hadn't went through it. For a long time, I realised that I hadn't read my Bible the whole way through it because, as I'm sure a lot of people know, whenever you're not well or you're in hospital, people send you cards. And a lot of people from the church were sending me cards with Bible verses and everything in them. So I think you just almost blank out everything else. You don't realise where you are because everybody else is kind of buffering everything around you. But whenever I did finally sit down to read my Bible, I felt extremely lost as where to go because I didn't have a clue where God was at in the whole situation, so I didn't really know what I needed either. So I just prayed more, probably shouted, just give me something, please. I just need anything to just help because I feel so lost. And God just was like, Job 23. And I've never read Job. I heard it's quite intense. At the time, I'd never read it. So I just looked it up and was like, I have no idea what's coming. So I just read it. And it was just like those moments where you just know that that was from God. It basically was just saying, whenever you can't see God, it doesn't mean he's not there. Like he knows where you are. And that's more important than you knowing where God is because he's the one who's leading you. He should be leading where you're going. Whenever I read through the whole of Job and realised that he had went through a lot of things a lot worse than I had, it put my situation in perspective with me. And the fact that he went through things worse and still pursued God gave me a lot of encouragement to do the same, that I had no real reason to stray away from God because people go through things a lot worse than I went through and still have that fire for God. So it gave me a lot of encouragement to do the same. There's a part of Job 23 just at the end of it that says, for he knows my destiny, and when he tests me, I will come out as gold, which is my favourite part of the whole verse, because I love knowing that no matter where I am and where I feel with God, that he is leading me and he is always there. So even if I can't see him, he knows where the path is going and he's planned it and he makes everything work together for the good of those who love him. I like knowing that. I think if I didn't know that there was a kind of plan and a maker behind it all, I would have found it very difficult to see a purpose of the whole thing. But looking back on it, I've learnt a lot, and I think knowing that God is always there through the whole process, that it's very reassuring to have that security and kind of strength behind you.
Hallelujah, God is near. Hallelujah.
Since the brain hemorrhage back in 2009, I found out that I'm epileptic and I still have to go back for every so often checkups, which I don't like because I don't like hospitals. Don't associate them with good things. But I think knowing that I've learnt a lot and that a lot has happened since then, I feel a lot more secure about going, that no matter what happens or what happens because of that situation, that God has a plan. And even if I don't know what it is, it's a good plan. It's always for my good, and he always wants the best for me. So I think knowing that, I think I tackle hurdles a lot better. I feel a lot easier to deal with them. I can deal with them a lot better knowing that God is there and knowing that he has a plan for them.
You're closer than a whisper, close enough to hear my heartbeat. You're closer than a kiss, close enough to raise my heartbeat.